I am 115 years old, and if that number sounds impossible to you, that's all right. It sounds impossible to me some mornings too. I've lived through 2 world wars, the Great Depression, the Civil Rights Movement, men walking on the moon, and now children walking around with tiny glowing screens that hold more information than the biggest libraries I once knew. I have buried friends, siblings, a husband, and even a child. I have celebrated birthdays people told me I would never reach. And when folks ask me the secret to living this long, they expect something complicated, a rare diet, a miracle pill, good genes. But the truth is much simpler and much harder than that. Long life isn't about what you start doing. It's about what you stop doing. So listen closely, because one of these 7 things might already be stealing years from you, quietly, patiently, without you even noticing. First, stop eating like food is the answer to every emotion. I grew up when food was scarce and precious. We ate what we had and we didn't waste it. But somewhere along the way, food became comfort. After my husband died, the house got quiet in a way that felt heavy. I started filling that quiet with pie, biscuits, late-night sandwiches. I told myself I deserved it. I told myself it wasn't hurting anyone, but my joints began to ache more than they should have. My sleep turned restless. I woke up tired instead of restored. One morning, I realized I wasn't hungry for food. I was hungry for comfort, and food was just the easiest substitute. So I stopped eating after dinner. I stopped eating when I wasn't truly hungry. I started asking myself before every bite, is this feeding my body or my feelings? When I changed that one habit, my energy changed. My body felt lighter. Food is fuel, not therapy. Once you understand that, your body has a fighting chance. Second, stop arguing with people who are determined not to understand you. I used to think being right was important. If someone said something I disagreed with, I had to correct them. Politics, religion, parenting, I had something to say about all of it, and I said it loudly. Do you know what that brought me? Tension headaches, high blood pressure, distance between me and people I loved. I once went years without speaking to a family member over something neither of us even remembers clearly anymore. He died before we ever made it right. That regret taught me more than any victory ever did. You cannot force wisdom into someone who isn't ready for it. Peace is more valuable than being right. Now, when someone wants to argue, I simply say, that's one way to see it, and I let the rest float away. Protect your peace like it's your savings account. Every unnecessary argument withdraws from it. Third, stop sitting like life is something you watch instead of something you participate in. I have never stepped foot in a gym, but at 115, I still move every single day. I make my bed. I sweep my porch. I walk slowly to the mailbox. I stretch my arms while the kettle boils. I watched many of my friends retire into recliners. At first, it looked like rest. Then it turned into stiffness, then weakness, then dependence. The body is made for motion. When water stops moving, it grows stagnant. So does the human body. You don't need to run marathons. You need to refuse stillness. Movement keeps your blood flowing, your mind alert, your spirit engaged. The day you decide you are too old to move is the day your body starts believing you. Fourth, stop carrying grudges like they are treasures. I held on to anger once for nearly 20 years, a betrayal that cut deep. I replayed it over and over in my mind. Every holiday, every family gathering, the bitterness sat beside me like an uninvited guest. The person who hurt me moved on, slept well, laughed freely, and I was the one losing sleep. I was the one with tight shoulders and a clenched jaw. Resentment is poison you swallow yourself. When I finally chose to forgive, it wasn't because the past changed. It was because I was tired of hurting. Forgiveness lifted a weight I didn't even realize had bent my back. Stress does real damage to your heart, your immune system, your digestion. Letting go is not about excusing someone else. It's about healing yourself. Fifth, stop filling your mind with fear before you close your eyes at night. In my younger years, the evening news was short and simple. Now it runs all day and all night, filled with disaster, outrage, and chaos. For a time, I watched it faithfully. I told myself I needed to stay informed, but I went to bed anxious. I dreamed of dangers that were nowhere near me. My heart raced over problems I could not solve. One evening, I turned it off and never turned it back on at night again. Instead, I read something gentle. I listened to quiet music. I prayed. I let my thoughts settle. Sleep is when your body repairs itself. If you feed your mind fear before bed, your body will try to repair itself in a storm. Protect your evenings. Peace before sleep is medicine. Sixth, stop trying to be everything to everyone. I spent decades being the dependable one. If someone needed help, I said yes. If someone needed money, I found a way. If someone needed my time, I gave it, even when I had none left. I thought that made me loving, but it made me exhausted. It made me resentful. I remember sitting alone after hosting a big family dinner, dishes piled high, feet throbbing, wondering why I felt so unappreciated. The truth was simple. I had never taught anyone my limits because I didn't have any. When I learned to say no, kindly but firmly, something shifted. The people who truly loved me understood. The ones who didn't faded away. Boundaries are not selfish. They are necessary. You cannot pour from a cup that refuses to be refilled. Seventh, and maybe most important, stop waiting to live. For years, I postponed joy. I told myself happiness would come after the next milestone, after the promotion, after the children grew up, after retirement, after we had saved just a little more. My husband and I talked about traveling for decades. We planned a trip out west, something we had dreamed of since we were young. He died 3 months before we were supposed to leave. I stood in our bedroom staring at the packed suitcase we never used and understood something that shook me to my core. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. Not for the young, not for the old, not for anyone. Stop saving your good dishes for guests who may never come. Stop postponing the phone call. Stop waiting for the perfect time to start the dream. Perfection is a disguise procrastination wears. If you want to live, live now. Tell people you love them now. Take the trip now. Begin now. At 115 years old, I don't move as fast as I once did. My hands are wrinkled. My steps are slow. But my mind is clear, and my heart is steady. Not because I avoided hardship. I have known grief deeper than words can hold. Not because I was lucky every day. I was not. I am here because I learned to let go of what was slowly harming me. I stopped overeating my emotions. I stopped arguing for the sake of ego. I stopped sitting still while my body begged for movement. I stopped feeding grudges. I stopped feeding fear. I stopped sacrificing myself for approval, and I stopped waiting for a tomorrow that was never promised. These things do not destroy you overnight. They erode you quietly. A little stress here, a little bitterness there, a few postponed dreams. Years pass. Then one day you wonder where your life went. Don't let it slip through your hands like that. You have more power than you think. Your habits are shaping your future right now. In this very moment, I am 115 years old. I have watched time take many people I loved far too soon. Not always because of fate, but because of choices they refused to change. You still have time, maybe more than you think, but only if you stop doing the things that are stealing it from you. And now, if you'll excuse me, the sun is setting outside my window, and at my age, every sunset feels like a personal gift. I intend to enjoy it. You should enjoy yours too.